So just a reminder, like just a moment. Yeah, so like we discussed last time that just to confirm, you mentioned that Python is something that you want to tackle first, right? Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So what we will do, we will first set up our environment, and then we will start our Python language. So we will start from the basics of Python, and our focus will be mainly on what we need in data engineering. So like what is expected from a data engineer. So all those concepts we keep like covering, and also what we will do, we will jump to tutorials. For example, let's say we are creating a Databricks, so or no, I mean any database environment in general. So whatever Python code will come there, there also will understand line by line. So like what we are actually doing. So there will be some concept which are keep repeating. So that will be like you will get good understanding on, and some concept also in each lab. So you will see some concepts are new in Python. So those will be like new learnings for us. So that we'll do. So it's like first we'll directly focus on Python, and then we will also keep learning parallelly along with different um, process that we use to for different objectives. So today we will first set up our environment, and I mean we can use cloud also, cloud services, but the best way to learn and practice is on our local PC. So let's see if we can do that. So can you tell me like what PC configuration you are using at the moment? I mean, I would suggest Mac. Mac is the best one. So let me know if you have what system you are using currently.
I'm using Windows right now.
Okay, you are using Windows. And
I'm
Ravi?
using Mac. I'm using Mac.
Okay, okay. Okay, so what we'll do, I will guide you to set up your environment. So we will first install Anaconda, and along with Anaconda, we will also, the Python 3.9 will come in Anaconda. Then we will also install VS Code, and then we will integrate our Anaconda environment inside VS Code. So that will give you a very powerful environment to work on. And not only for during this training, but later on, like for years and years, this will be like super helpful in all kind of Python activities. And then in VS Code, I will also tell you how to navigate and how to work with Bash. So like command line formats, and also Git. So Git also, what we will do, if you already have a Git account, then we will use that. Otherwise, we will create a fresh Git account, and also will connect and integrate in our VS Code. So VS Code is the primary tool that we are going to use for all kind of development, and we'll integrate our Python, Anaconda, GitHub, and Bash in our VS Code. So that will like complete our working environment. So to download Anaconda, what you need to do, you need to search for Anaconda. For example, let me show you how to look for that. Also, I will share a couple of links with you for Windows and Mac. So you will say Anaconda download. Yeah, I will directly, I think, share you the link for Windows and Mac. So it's very easy to download and set up. And what is the net bandwidth at the moment? I think the size is pretty large. Yeah, so just go here. They will automatically detect, I think, your system, and they will provide you link here. So let me share that link in chat. I'm sharing. I can't see the chat option, I guess. Tair, like, do you know, like, why chat option is not coming here?
It was disabled by the host.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
plus
so
actually it is disabled for the security purpose. I mean the policy of the company, and I
so
can't
like, is
change
there
it.
a way? Oh, yeah, that's fine. So, is there a way like, can I share the links and notes during the sessions?
Yeah, you can share me directly, so I'll forward it to in group
Okay, to you in WhatsApp or like, how?
in
Okay,
WhatsApp.
direct. Okay, WhatsApp. I think your contact is not. What is your
I,
I just
initial
sent
contact?
you the link.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that is you. Okay. Let me share this.
we can get directly from the Google this one. We can
Yeah,
directly
yeah. That
download.
is also. So like I'm trying to find a way where I need to share some notes with you. So like this is a pipeline, something like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can like search Anaconda and then you will find like distribution there. So then download, and it will like, I think for Mac they are showing around 680 MB. And also if you do not see here directly, then click on the icon, Windows and Mac. So they will give you the link. And once it is downloaded, we will also parallelly download VS Code. VS Code download. Yeah. So for Mac, you can download this zip. So it will start downloading zip. And also I think they will detect it, but if not, you can also like, I think Universal is here, not sure. Yeah, but let's try like for Mac, you can download from here. And for Windows also, you can like directly on this button. Then once we have this setup, then the third activity is our GitHub. So we will create account on GitHub. You can also like, if you are facing difficulty, you can also share the screen, and like I will help you directly on your screen. Pawan Ravi, also like, you can like, let me know the status like every few seconds, so that it is not total blank, and also like I can know what is the status overall. And if your bandwidth is like a bit low at the moment, let it download. It's not like we can also like finish tomorrow, and meanwhile I will proceed with like showing you Python in my system. So that way also is fine, and we are recording, so you can watch recording and follow the videos like in Python case if you do not know or remember and that particular concept.
Okay.
Okay, let me meanwhile let it download, and we will jump to that. So for now what we will
I have
do.
this PyCharm on my laptop.
Oh, okay, you PyCharm you use. Yeah. I mean, if you're familiar with PyCharm, then you can also use that like for Python. That also like people use for Python. And I mean, if you're familiar, otherwise, if you are starting, then VS Code will be the better one. If we
Uh,
for data engineering cases,
Oh,
I
okay.
have I have Jupyter notebook in my laptop. Is it fine?
you have Jupyter. Okay. Yeah, Jupyter is fine, but like what I'm showing you, this VS Code,
But
like
we will follow whatever you suggest to us. Like
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, I used like PyCharm, I used, and even Jupyter Notebook I used, but I found that this particular setup is the best one. Like, so I mean, compared to other one for data engineering task.
okay.
So, but if you're familiar with Jupyter Notebook, for example, and you work there for tree structures, for example, yeah, I mean, Jupyter Lab is something that you can use where you also get on your left side some navigation, right? So Jupyter Lab is also fine, but still, I mean, they work on almost similar way, but there will be some extension which we are going to use in future, and that will not come there easily. So that is the only limitation there. And PyCharm, I think I used for some project, but later on I switched to VS Code. Then, so if you prefer PyCharm, then go with that. Otherwise, my recommendation is this. Like VS Code and Anaconda for Python. Even Python we can install directly, but I would suggest to install via Anaconda because it will help us to manage our virtual environments better. So that way, it will be like complete setup for us. We don't need any other tool then for our development. So the Anaconda, is it downloaded or like is it still downloading?
I'm at 400 MB now.
400 MB, okay. And Pawan, you?
For me, it is downloaded, but I have to clear some space in my laptop, so I need
Oh,
some time.
okay, okay.
Yeah, by tomorrow I will get
Mhm.
it
Okay,
done.
okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, I will
Uh,
also share some videos that will guide you to set up Anaconda in Windows and Mac. So I will share that video, and I think after few sessions, I will also create a site which I will generally create. So I will share the URL and credentials. So on that site, you will be able to like find and follow all kind of notes and videos, recordings, everything. So that will be like one point solution for all the things that we are doing here. So that is something I will create and share with you. For now, let's move. So first thing that we can do after this is let's create a folder. And so let me show you like basics of VS Code then, so that it is clear. So on the left side you are seeing, so these are like different icons, and the first one is for tree. So whenever you open it, it will open a tree like this, and all the files will start coming here, files and folders. And the second one is search. If you need to search something, we can do here. Then third one is GitHub. We will connect one GitHub repo, and also when we create like our industry related project, so there we are going to deploy also this project in our GitHub, so that when we add this in resume, then companies also like recruiters can come here on your GitHub and see. So all the things that we are going to do on GitHub, this will actually help there also in communications with Git. Then I think these are all optional. These are not required. And the another extension that we need and facilitate, those we can install actually from here, extension packs. But mainly like this is the primary one. And then here, let's say I need to create a new folder. So I will either click on this icon, or I can also like right click and new folder. So I'm naming it Python just to know that okay, this is Python stuff. And so enter, and then it created a folder in my working environment. So, and to open it, like this is our main environment, main area, where whenever I click on something, some file, it will open here automatically. So that is how it works. These are like three primary windows. Then there is a terminal also. Terminals, to open the terminal, you need to click on the terminal button and then new terminal. So it will open this kind of terminal stuff. And here we can, yeah, so I think just let me check. Okay. Yeah, so this is like our, we can run our commands here. So this is a bash JAD or, but the difference is not that huge, but we generally use bash terminal. And there is only like, this one is new, and so even I'm not that familiar, I do not use that much, but I can notice there are some features which was missing in bash. But most of the time this bash will work, and I'm still using it a lot in my commands. So bash one, you can run multiple commands on, with time, with tutorials you will see that some commands will come, and still you will find that for my basic navigation also I sometimes use terminal, which is faster way compared to like GUI. So on some cases I prefer terminal. And for data engineers, this is required because we need to communicate with databases. So that is like one use case. So if you need to communicate, then terminal also comes handy. So for those reasons, we used terminal commands. And let's start with Python first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create our first notebook. So I will create here. Let's say hello world. So it is opening. I think I need to maybe restart it so that I can attach Anaconda. So when we set up in your system, you will see that when you navigate it, some automatically Anaconda actually comes. So let me just restart it.
Spurge, I have downloaded it, but it's showing me like I don't know. It's a little bit confusing to me. Let me just share my screen, I guess. No. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Give me a minute.
Okay, I don't like this game. Don't kill me.
Um, I don't know. I should have joined through my laptop, but I joined through my mobile. So it is. This is what happened. I installed the Anaconda, and now it opened like it has Anaconda Navigator, and now I get like Data Spell, Jupyter Lab, Notebook, Jupyter Notebook, PyCharm Community. So it's saying like launch of all of these, like RStudio.
Yeah, yeah.
So what should I do next?
It is showing. Yeah, we need to. I think for Anaconda, which system you are on?
Mac.
Okay. So I think they will automatically detect that for now. Download the VS Code and after that I will guide you.
So VS Code from Anaconda.
No, search for VS Code in your browser, like download VS Code, and let me show again. So yeah, so this one, go to this link or code.visualstudio.com. This is the
Okay, yeah.
second tool we are downloading. Yeah.
So third one for me, right?
Sorry,
Mac.
third one. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. And yeah, it's 201 MB.
Yep. This one. Yeah, keep it down for in the back. For now, what we are doing, like you can see that this is like my working environment, and I already have Anaconda installed. And after that, we will do one activity where we will create a virtual environment in our case. So once we do that, it will automatically start coming here. So as soon as you create any notebook, so notebook means like it's a Python script, but it is more about interactive Python. So it's like you can say the next version of simple Python script, which we still use Python script, and that is very much required. But when we develop things and when we like build things up, so instead of using direct Python script, it is better to use Jupyter Notebook for exploration and development. So that actually helps. And why? Because after every line or set of line, you can actually run it and test, and also you can attach notes via Markdown. So those are like some integrated features, and even shell commands you can run directly in notebooks. So it's like a combination of multiple features. You are getting your notes creation feature, your actual code. Then you can run SQL also here. Then you can run shell command. So it's like a total multiple language combination. So therefore, people prefer Jupyter notebooks during development. And this one is Jupyter notebook means when something ends with this extension .ipynb. So this meaning is interactive Python notebook. So whenever you add this extension to any file, it will become Jupyter notebook. So after that, when you click on it, it will open directly in your VS Code. And VS Code support Jupyter notebooks. And here we can like start our Python. And on your right side, you will see that this Python 3.9.10 is coming. So we need to click on it, and then you will see that these three, this is like our user local bin. So that is something we do not use. This is like Mac Python in Mac, and that is like very bad. We do not use that Python. We use Anaconda Python. That is like the best way to use. And in Anaconda also, you will find one base which we do not use. We do not use base. The reason is that let's say tomorrow your system break, and that also like whatever reason I'm explaining, this also applies to the this one. So let's say some package broke. So what happens in some cases when we install multiple libraries, there sometimes you will face a dependency issue, like one package updates some version of other package because of dependency. And overall what happens, the system break, like Python totally breaks, and in that case it is very hard to recover sometimes. So for that reasons, we do not use the base one, like we use virtual environment. So the concept of virtual environment in Python is, if something breaks in that environment, your system will be intact. It will not be broken down. Only that particular environment will be broken down, which is virtual, not actual, right? So that is something, that is the reason we use virtual environments. And I will share the commands and show you like how to create virtual environments in Anaconda. And for me, you can see that I have two virtual environments. So this one is base, ignore that. So these two are our interests. Like, yeah, you can name it anything. I name it env snow, env spacey. And you can see that the Python version is also different. So for me, this is my primary Python that I use. And in some cases, I mean, those libraries or packages, they specially ask for Python 3.8 version. So I need to create another environment, virtual environment, and I need to install Python 3.8 version there. Otherwise, like Python 3.9 works in I think 99% of the cases now. So therefore, when I come here, I select this, my Anaconda environment, and that's it. Like I'm ready to start my Python now. And whatever code I am developing here, this will go to anywhere, like anywhere in the world on any system. If they need Python code, they're running Python, you can use this code, the same exact code to run anywhere, as long as the Python version is 3.9. Because also even it is like back supported, so Python 3.8, 3.7 also can support it. But in some cases, actually, because of dependency, a different Python version do not support each other. But yeah, the Python code will be like working, as long as like you can manage the dependencies. So now you can see that this is called cell. This area that you are seeing, this dark black, this is called cell, and we can create any number of cells. Let's say to create a new cell, you can click on this, and you can see the hover also, like add code cell. We can create more, create more. To delete, you can click on this button. And now this is code cell. In code, you can by default it come with Python. It come with Python, and let's say you want to create nodes in Jupyter Notebook. It is also possible to create nodes. So all we need to do is like we need to be familiar with little bit of Markdown language. So let's say I want to make a heading. I will create on this, and now it will be like, you can see that is a Markdown cell. So Markdown is mainly for notes and all that stuff. It's not about language, but it is like used for mainly notes. Let's say I want to create a heading here. So I will say, and to execute it, I press Shift Enter. When I press Shift Enter, it execute the cell. So you can see that it automatically convert into some kind of text, right? So this is the purpose of Markdown. And let's say I want to open it again. I just double click on it. It will open again the cell. And let's say header 2, header 2, then header 3. So you can add like 3 headers is like very common, but 4th header generally you will not see. So these are like 3 headers we can do, and also bullets. So it's like bullet also we can create, bullet 1, bullet 2, then also list. So something like this, and also like a horizontal line you can create with this. So these are like multiple features. We don't use all the features all the time, but yeah, it will like come handy to create our notes and all that thing. So it's like when you execute, it will come show it like this. Then this is like all about Markdown. Then let's say in our Python. So in Python, the first thing that we do is like how to print something. So to print something, we use print, and in quote, you can use single or double quote. Both are equally fine. Hello world. You can type here anything. And when I execute this, Shift Enter. Yeah, now they are connecting to my Anaconda. So whenever we execute any Python code, at the first time they connect to our Anaconda environment. And whatever the result is, they keep printing here. So it's like how Python works in our VS Code. And now we will learn some basics of Python also here, and that you can also practice your system. So, and when we move to development of our databases and all that thing in data engineering stuff, there you will like see a lot of Python code that we will use. So Mainly, I think those like learning the Python from that perspective will be better compared to learning it from scratch, because that will give you some purpose also. Like, okay, for this particular objective, I need to learn this particular code, something like that. So let me explain some basics. So let's say my objective is to print numbers from 1 to 10. So here loop is available. We can try loop. So for example, the for loop is very common. For I in range 10, print I. So I'm saying that range is like a internal function, and you can also like read here. So it provide like a list of 1 to 10, and I'm saying from 0 to 10, and each time just get the value in this one, in this variable. This is called variable I. For I in this range, 1 by 1, print I, print that number. So it is start, and the interesting thing is that when I use so basically some language start with 1, and in generally you will see that code languages start with 0, the number 0. So when you mention range 10, you will see from 0, starting from 0, total 10 numbers. So it is like 0 to 9, right? So this is like how we print. And also you can like message also, you can print something like this. Print hello. Let's say somebody asks you to like print a message hello 10 times. Yeah, you can do that. And here there is another shortcut, like you want to comment. So comment is also very common in Python. One use of comment is documentation, obviously, because when you convert this particular notebook into script, in a script markdown that will not work, right? So instead of markdown, but comment actually works in script also. So most of the time you will see that people use script and they are using some kind of comments there. So there is a shortcut to comment any line or a set of line. So here I just click on the line which I need to comment, and I press command forward slash, and you can see like it is now like gray. So they automatically added this hash. You can also manually do that. For example, you want to comment this line, just type hash at the beginning, so it will comment that line. So comment means it will not be affected, like it is more of a notes now and not working, not active code. So let's say I am commenting this line and activating this line. So now what will happen? Can you guys tell me what will happen here? Pawan, Ravi. Okay, so here the hello will be printed 10 times. So for I in this range, now I'm not using I, I'm just using it as a placeholder. It will not be of any use. And then I'm printing this message again and again 10 times. And let's say instead of 10, I want to print it only 5 times. So I will just change the number to 5. So it will print now 5 times. See? Yeah. So this is like how we use loop. So loop is very common in Python. Now let me hello it down. So it is for loop. I think for loop is the only loop. Otherwise, I noticed that there is while loop also, and I hardly see that. But for loop is very common. So what we are going to do here, we will cover the majority of the concept, which keeps repeating every time, right? We will cover that, and the remaining like very extreme, which do not occur often. So those kind of concept we keep aside, and if in some lab we see that okay, this particular concept is not covered in our Python, there then we cover that. Otherwise we are mainly focusing on our like the mass where which we use a lot. So loops, for loop is something we use a lot, and another thing is function. Function is another concept that we use. Yeah, so in function, the format is, and this format is actually, it might be new to you if you are like seeing it for the first time. Otherwise, it will be like keep repeating. So this is like for loop, this is a format. And if you are new, I mean, it could be hard to understand the beginning, but if you practice, you will keep like remembering, like, okay, this is a format which is fixed. Now the function is like, the objective of function is, uh, when we have some code which is repeating again and again. So instead of copying and pasting all that code again and again, we convert that into a function. So let's say you want to add two numbers. So one way to add is, let's say, uh, number 1 equal to 10 and number 2 equal to 20, and we are printing num1 plus num2. So let's say you are printing two numbers, and we need to we will get the result here. But you will see that, let's say you want to print another two numbers, the sum of another two numbers. So what is the way? Like, this is very raw, like we are directly inputting the number here and then pasting it here. So if you want to paste it, either you need to like change it here and then execute this, or you need to copy the cell and then like pass it here. So let's say you want to paste 5 and 10. Now you are getting these two, but as you notice that now code will start repeating. So the best way to convert this repeating code into function. So here the format of function is def. So def, I think the full form is mainly definition, but def is something, a keyword which we use to create a function. And then we define the name of the function. Let's say add two numbers and this kind of bracket. In bracket, we pass the argument, like what will be the input. So in function, you can simply imagine this as a input output thing. Like we input something and we create the logic, and we get some output based on the logic. So now input will be, let's say, n1 and n2. You can also name it num1, num2, but I am just for short, I am using n1, n2, and then colon. And when you enter, it automatically like shift the cursor. So now whatever you write here will be inside this function. So can you tell me the logic that I need to write to like add the numbers?
N1, N2, and print sum of N1 plus N2.
Correct. So it will be like print of n1 plus n2. Yes. So this will like print the number. And now how to call it? I just add two numbers, and the first number, let's say, again we are repeating here 10 and 20, 10 and 20, and execute, shift enter, 30, right? And now simply I will just execute this function again, and here this time 5 and 10, and execute. So the you can see like our code is super reduced now, right? We are not repeating things, and we can change the logic here, whatever logic we need. Let's say tomorrow some demand comes, so you need to change your logic. So you can do that easily, and you can make it even more efficient for some complex functions. There are a lot of use cases. I mean, you will slowly keep seeing that functions are like super good in our development. They are like the core of our development, the all kind of development. So therefore functions are very good, and you can see the output is like we just reduce to these lines, these two lines. And because this is very small code, but for large code like 50 lines of code, you will see that again and again, instead of repeating, we are just like converting into a single code of those 50 lines. And then we just call with single line of those 50 lines code. So that is something we do a lot in Python, and this is like how we do. Another way, like how we can enhance the function, another way is like So here you can see output is like print, right? But generally you will also see another way to get output. Let's say n3 equal to n1 plus n2. So now n3 has the sum, and then this is a keyword return n3. So this way we are returning the sum. So this is very common keyword, and this actually indicates the output. So input, sum processing, and output. So this is like our 3 steps in function. So execute this to take it effect, and let's try again if that is also working correctly. So what is the advantage of return of compared to print? The advantage is that now you can save the output as a variable. Here you cannot save it, right? It is just printing it. But because it is returning something, so let's say you name it num3 equal to this. Now the output is not getting printed, but it is getting saved in some variable. That is very amazing. Like we use this also a lot. And here, then once we save the output as num3, then we can also like print num3. So first save it. You will not see any output, right? Because num3 has that value. Now if we print num3, for printing actually in Jupyter Notebook, you can also like directly mention it, because Jupyter Notebook like identify the variable as like print, like automatically add the print, but we can also like do this. And so you can see that now variable has that value, and we can move the variable around. So it's like very interesting that we can just change it here, and our variable will save the output, and we can use that output to some other function, and all that chain we can build complex chains. That is also good. So this is like, I think you get some understanding about functions. The next thing, which is I would say not very we don't use that much, but still that is very essential because it will actually come in some places. And for that reason we are just quickly learning that also is classes. So that is class. And in class the logic is that it is similar to function, but you can say it's a collection of function also. Like you can add multiple functions in your class, and also some kind of state is maintained. Like you can once you create an object of class, you can also like some kind of memories there for that object that you can retrieve later for from that class. So that is like advanced concept, don't worry about that. When some use case come, I will explain more on that. But let's create some class. So just like function we use tab, for class we use class. And you can say class, and we can say update, or maybe control change num. Let's say change num is our class. So here you can see that why I'm naming it this way. So basically in Python, this is like a best practice that for function we use something like this, underscore, and for classes we generally use like capital letters in our main names. So change is one word, num is another, so I'm just using capital letter there. So I think for technically they also named it something like snake method, or some maybe camel writing. So I think there are some technical names, but this is like how we use best practice here. Change num is our class. Now let's say yeah, I mean this class is fine. Then tab init, and yeah, let's leave class actually. I think it will not be used that much, so it will actually confuse you. So let's focus on the things which will be actually helpful, right? Because I don't want to confuse you in the very beginning of Python. So here let's focus on list is another very common thing, and that is something which also be very relevant. Let's say x, you can name it list anything. And how we create a list, we use this bracket, this square bracket, open close. So let's say list one equal to, and you can save it anything, like you can save numbers, alphabets, strings, anything. So let's say I want to save numbers here, or yeah, numbers is fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So like let's say I want to save this 5 number in a list. So I just create a square open close bracket, and inside that I will use comma to save my object. Now this list has 5 object, and if I print this list, let's see what I get. So I get the exact output whatever in the list. And here one very interesting thing which also will be a use case in I mean in some cases is like if somebody asks you to convert these integers, like these are integers, right, 1 2 3 4 5, into a string. So how can we do that? Like for example, if I ask you to convert this 5 numbers in list into strings, like the representation that I am looking for is something like this. So string, you know that we represent by single or double quote. So this is mainly now string instead of numbers. And string we cannot apply operation. Like if you try to sum two string, it will not be 3. 1 plus 2 is not 3, but they will append it 1 2. Something like this will happen. So that is like a properties of string. Like append happens, but not mathematical operations. That can only happen on numbers. So let's say your objective is to convert this list one into this kind of format. So how can you do that? If I ask you, based on the concept that you understood so far, how can you convert this into a string list using function? Can you guys write the function? Like for now, I'm just writing, and can you tell me if you want, like what could be the method using function?
Def, def.
Yep, correct. Def.
Convert to string, convert,
Yeah,
con
anything. Yeah,
underscore,
let's say
yeah,
list
anything,
convert,
list
and
convert,
then
colon,
okay, no, okay, colon.
so we need to, okay, and enter, so we need to write some code. So print, print of str of list one,
Print of
string str of bracket,
str of,
list one, whatever the list we take.
okay,
So list convert into bracket, inside the bracket I think we need to keep list one.
inside which
Def,
this,
no, main
okay,
bracket
this one,
after.
okay,
Yeah, I think, yeah, I guess that.
okay. Let's try this. So it is like coming exactly same, but this time I think it's not a list but a string. But overall, like it looks like the thing that we need is not showing. I mean, we can check it. So I think the way to check it is, let's say whatever output we are getting, we will say, okay, this is actually printing directly here. So let's say return, so that way we can also control things. So if we change it here to return, so this will return our output. And let's say we are saving it in some temporary variable x. And if you print x, it will print like this. So it's like our list, they added some string brackets outside.
Okay, the bracket is outside also, then it is also string.
Yeah,
Is
correct,
it?
correct. So this is like now a string. In this string, these are like the characters.
Okay.
So we converted the whole list into string, but we want to convert like individual one by one. So actually, let's try one more time with some other approach. So let's say this list one is here, and the for loop has a property to iterate over the list. Like if you see here, we use range, but okay, here actually, let me extend the for loop functionality a bit so that you can get better clarity also. So let's say for I in instead of range, now I am using list. For I in 1, 2, 3 and printing I. Let's say I'm using this. So what you expect, like what will be the output of this?
Just 1, 2, 3.
Correct. So output will be 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it is happening because for loop has a facility to or a feature to iterate. Iterate means like repeat one after other over the list. So it's like it the I has first the value of 1, then it again runs into loop, then print I1, then I the 2 comes in I, then again print 2, then 3 comes and then print 3. So this is like iteration over the loop. And now if I just replace it like with some string, like let's say ABC, maybe ABC will be easier. A, B, and C. It's like ABC, right? ABC strings are coming. And let's say I also print type, so that will give you more clarity. So whatever variable we have, these are all variables, integers, strings, and all. So sometimes in print, those actual signs might be missing in our Jupyter mainly. So one way is like we can I mean, that is not even my hand. So, but what I do for representation, we can also print type. Type is like a keyword again, and inside type we can put a variable. So let's say I, it will also print the type. So now you can see like it's a class int. So it's like integer classes. And if I print type I here, it will say string, right? So these are like string types. So whatever you can notice that whatever list, whatever input we have, it will like keep iterating over that. So similarly, here, if you need to convert it, I'm just giving you a hint. So the shortcut will be stri for I in our list one. You can see now this is like list iteration. So note that or like you can take a mental note of this, like list iteration is a concept that is very important in list. So this using list iteration, I converted this into a strings inside numbers. So tomorrow we will finish our environment setup and we will continue our Python journey. We'll learn some basics, some more basics, and then we'll also like try to start our main conceptual part as soon as possible, and there we will keep learning this Python more and more, right? So yeah, let's meet tomorrow then. Thank you for attending today's class.
What is the duration of the class?